Hey guys, it's me, Butterfly Spirit. So today I volunteered at a nonprofit organization, and at this organization, I was teaching kids in the adoption as well as the foster care system about establishing bank accounts like checking accounts, savings accounts, and teaching them about finances and stuff like that, and even like going over money management and things like that. On my channel, before this video, I posted a video showing you guys like what the classroom looked like and everything like that before the class even started. So anyway, um, there were some interesting things that I learned during this event that I didn't really expect to learn. My goal when I set out to volunteer um, to teach these kids about finance was is that I wanted to provide these kids with financial information that I didn't have when I was their age, as a teenager and stuff. When I was a teenager, I didn't really get much information other than what I learned from like high school. Family may have told me bits and pieces about finances, but the stuff that I was told, by the time I was in college and stuff like that, and even after I got out of college, I didn't really have a good credit score established or anything, or savings or anything like that. And many of the kids these days probably don't have those things. When I was in high school, I was told not to even bother getting a credit card. And I'm sure some of you can kind of understand that as well. You may have heard that from your high school teachers too. But turns out credit is super important to you doing things like buying a car, renting an apartment, buying a house, and getting loans for different types of things. You know what I mean? And if I would have known that credit was so important, as a teenager, I would have made some different moves, as opposed to some of the things that I did. But I just, like most kids, I was like, oh, I'm just going to just trust what high school says, trust what I'm being told and stuff, and it'd be enough. But the thing is that when it came time for me to try to do things, you know, things were harder for me to do financially. You know what I mean? As opposed to it being easier. If I would have been given the financial information I know now versus, in the past as a teenager, if I would have gotten that information, things would have been a lot easier for me. So much easier, not just for me, but for other people I know too. So this event to me, I really feel like I wanted to give these kids real life information that they weren't going to get from a textbook. Real life information that's going to help them with their finances and to understand that the earlier they start learning about finances, like managing money, saving, credit, and stuff like that, the better. So I was really happy to do that. Going into the event, I was very nervous. I found that I had assumptions about what these kids were going to be like, and the reality was when I met many of these kids and stuff like that, these kids were very bright, they were very intelligent, they knew things about finances and stuff like that, and it was great because I got to have a really good dialogue with these kids. I was teaching along with another teacher or whatever. I'm not a teacher, but I got to, do the class with a gentleman and stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. He was an elder gentleman who was doing the class, which I appreciated because I wouldn't have been able to lead the class like he was. I found the event to be great. Me having worked in banks and stuff like that, I was able to get these kids perspective from a banking perspective that they would not get out of their textbook, that they wouldn't get out of the PowerPoint presentation. I gave them like real life tips that could truly help them and they could make a difference to them, which I really loved. One thing I will say that really kind of got to me is that what got to me is that there were kids who were telling me, what I'm saying, some of them were, because the class of kids, it was from like 16 to like 19 and stuff like that and stuff. So 16-year-olds to 19-year-olds and stuff. What I found is there were kids that were in the foster system or the adoption system that did not trust their foster parents or their adoptive parents. And many of these kids was talking about like they was like, well, I don't trust my foster parents with my money. I want to wait till I turn 18 and then I'll be able to do stuff on my own and stuff like that. And I heard it from several of them. And for the ones who didn't speak up, it's probably because maybe they didn't feel comfortable or they didn't want it to get back to their foster parents or their adoptive parents and stuff. And what this really causes me to think a lot about, guys, is that there are people out here who are having kids and they're not thinking about what life is going to be like after they have these kids. You know what I'm saying? People are not thinking about that. People are not thinking about the fact that, sometime down the line, just because it seems exciting for some people to have a baby right now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to financially be able to support having a child. You know what I mean? Circumstances in life can change, and all kids deserve to be able to have parents that are going to be able to support them, family that's going to be able to support them. You know what I mean? And for many of these kids who I was talking to, they were very bright. They knew things about finance and stuff like that, which I applauded them. What broke my heart for these kids, though, is that these kids did not trust their adoptive parents or foster parents. But the ones who did probably trust their foster parents or adoptive parents, it was very few of them that did. And the thing is that, I would hope that, these kids will be able to have a relationship with their birth parents. You know what I'm saying? I would hope so. But it broke my heart to find out that although these kids had been adopted and they were in the foster system and adoptive system and stuff like that, and they had families and stuff, these kids really felt sad because these people that adopted them and fostered them didn't have their best interest at heart. And the reason they was even attending this financial class is because they was eager to try to get on the best track to finances so that they can independently take care of themselves. And these kids shouldn't have to feel like that. They really should not have to feel that way. You know what I mean? They really shouldn't. They should really, whether they have their birth parents or adopted parents, they should be able to have people in their lives who love and support them no matter what. They shouldn't have parents, whether birth or adoptive or foster parents, who are treating them like they don't, like they're not important. They should have nothing but love. These kids are bright, they're intelligent, they're taking the initiative to learn about finance, to try to set themselves up for good futures and stuff like that. And, I think these kids should really be applauded. I think they really should be. I thought before I even did the class, I thought that these kids were going to be, unruly and not listening and everything. No, these kids were very professional, very well put together and stuff like that. And they really had good heads on their shoulders. And these kids are really going to stand out compared to other kids, compared to their peers. And I'm very proud I got to meet these kids and work with them. I'm really proud of them. The class was between like 12 to about 20 kids. And I really appreciated getting a chance to really work with these kids and provide them good information. Thanks for watching.